All right, guys, so now we're going to deploy to Vercel. So you just need to log into Vercel with your GitHub account, and you should see a dashboard like this where you can add a new project. And all we have to do is bring it over from GitHub. So you do have to push the project to GitHub. So this is my repo right here. And to do that, I'm sure just about all of you know how to do that. But if not, then just go to your project, and if you haven't initialized a repository yet, just do git init. Okay, then you want to git add all, so that will add all to the files to your staging area, and then you can do git commit -m with a message like initial commit, so something like that. And then once you have it in your local repo, you want to go to your GitHub account and add a new repository, fill in the name. It can be public or private. And then once you do that, you'll see some commands. And one of those is going to be git remote add origin, and then whatever your remote repository is. So you're going to want to do that next. Git and then remote add origin, and then whatever your repo is. Okay, once you do that, you should be able to then git push -u origin and then main, because you're pushing to the main branch. Okay, and that will do your initial push. And then after that, all you have to do when you want to add to it again is to add to the staging area, commit, and then just run git push. Okay, so once you have it on GitHub, then in Vercel, actually before we do that, there's another thing we need to address, and that is your database access or network access, because you might have it so only your local IP address can work with the database. So there's really two things you can do. You can either add the server IP address, or you can just allow from anywhere. So, I mean, if it's a production project, I would probably say get the IP of your server and add that. But just for now, you can click add IP address and just click this allow access from anywhere. It'll put all zeros and then confirm that. Okay, and that's what I'm going to do right now. So once all that's done, you can then come over to Vercel and then click add new project and then choose that repository. So right here, import project name. I'll just keep it at property pulse. And then this is where you can add your environment variables on your server, because the env file, right, this env file is not going to get pushed to the server. It's not in GitHub. So if I go to my repo here, you can see there's no .env. So what you want to do is bring all these into your server. And notice that the domain is localhost 3000. That's not going to be our domain on Vercel. However, we don't know the domain yet. So the way that I set this up, remember when we did this on the requests with the request file? Where is it? Utils, requests. So I checked this case because if the domain isn't available yet, which it won't be when we first push, then it's going to return an empty array. And that's to prevent it from giving us errors at deployment. Same thing when we fetch a single property. So what we'll do is you can actually copy all of these, and they make it easy where you can just click on the first input and then paste, so Command or Control V, and then it puts in all those values. All right, now all these right here you will have to update after we get the domain, but for now it should be enough in order for us to be able to deploy. All right, so we have our MongoDB URI, we have our Cloudinary stuff here, Mapbox, all that stuff that we need. So now let's go ahead and click deploy. And this might take a few minutes. All right, so it's still in the process. Oh, there we go. Congratulations. And you might see it, you might have saw a few errors for fetching, but again, that's because we don't have the correct domain. So let's click continue to dashboard, not continue to dashboard. I want to go to the actual project, so you can click on the image, and it says a server-side exception has occurred. See the server logs. All right, so if we go to the dashboard, and this is going to have to do with the domain, but you can go to logs and right here. So cannot read properties of undefined. So basically it's trying to get the properties, but it can't because it doesn't have the correct domain. So what we can do now is go to our, let's see, go to our project, go to our settings rather, and then environment variables, which are right here. And we just want to update now all the domain variables. And your domain is going to be whatever this is. Right? So I'm just going to copy that. And obviously, if you add your own domain, you'll change these to that, whatever.com. So let's see, we have next public domain. That we definitely want to change. So let's edit that from HTTP localhost 3000 to that. We don't need the slash at the end. Okay, so let's save that one. And then the next public API domain, we want to edit that. And you want to make sure you keep the slash API, but just put that domain before it. Save that. And then let's see, there's the next auth URL. You want to save that, change that as well, and save. And then the auth internal, edit that. Okay, and then I believe that's, yeah, those four are what you want to change. Now we can go to deployments, and then we can just go ahead and this deployment here, we're going to say redeploy. I believe we have to redeploy for those to kind of kick in. All right, so we'll just wait for that. All right, so it says deployment completed. Let's go back to the domain and reload. And there we go. So now our project is deployed. Now obviously you want to go through and test some things. And obviously the same properties are showing because we're using the same database. So let's click on details and go to a single page. So all that looks good. Map. That looks good. Let's go ahead and try to, let's search for Boston. That works. Let's log in. Oh, we're going to have an issue here because, remember, we have to change the domain in the Google console. So just go to your Google console and let's go to API and Services and go to Credentials. So Web Client 1 right here, or whatever you called it. And then we have authorized JavaScript origin. So I'm going to create another one here, and I'm going to put the domain with no slash. And then for authorized redirects, I'm going to put the domain, and then we want slash API slash auth callback Google, just like we have for localhost. So we'll add those two, and let's save. And it says it may take 5 minutes, what did it say, to a few hours to take effect. All right, so we'll try it now, but I might have to wait and pause the video. So we'll try now, click login, and I'll try my tech guy info. And it's going to have this until you actually publish the app, which you can do by going to the consent screen and then publishing the app. That should get rid of that second, this right here. And then you're always going to see this because you need to give them permission. So continue. And now I'm logged in. So I'm going to go to my profile and I'm going to see the same listings because again, we're using the same database which has this user already and these listings. So let's see, we'll try the edit here. I'll just put a 1 in front of it. Let's update the property. Okay, so that worked. So now I'm going to go back and edit and take that 1 away. Update. If we go to saved properties, I have no saved properties, but let's bookmark one. So I'll go to this one here, bookmark. Okay, that works. If I now go to saved properties, there it is. All right, and why don't we send a message to one of the properties that are not ours. So let's see, we'll do the Boston one. So properties, this one, and let's say I'm interested, say John Doe. I am interested, send message. Okay, and now I have no messages here. Let's log out. And then I'm going to log in as the other user. And I should have, right here, I am interested, received 216 at 8:32, which is right now. Okay, and I can mark as read. The context is working. You can see the 2 changed to a 1. Awesome. I can delete. So it seems like everything's working pretty good. So I really hope you enjoyed the course, and I'll see you in the next one.